please welcome Apollo COO Matt Curl back to the stage.
All right. Hello, everybody. Before we dive into this next section, I want to give a nice plug. If you love swag, if you will take a picture, anything that excites you today, and post it on any social network of your choosing, and you put hashtag ApolloNEXT, there's actually a secret swag booth upstairs. You just have to find them and show them that, and they will give you some secret swag. So if that's of interest to you, please do that. And then let's dive right in. I'm really excited to go deeper on the AI-powered inbound and outbound solutions that we've built at Apollo. And during the session today, it's going to be pretty interactive. I'm going to bring on product leaders from Apollo. I'm going to bring on some of our actual customers who have been in our betas that have used these products, and we're going to share some of the results. For those of you that don't know me, in my career, I've operated in pretty much every part of the go-to-market system. I've run a sales team as a VP of sales, building a team from 10 to 250 sellers. I've also been a VP of RevOps, taking a company to $500 million of revenue. And I've been in a GM position where you're responsible for the entire motion end to end. And in that role, you don't have a lot of time to point fingers between sales and marketing or post-sales. It's all your responsibility. And wearing those different hats gives a lot of unique perspectives. But ultimately, I want to start with a very simple question of why should any company even invest in go-to-market tech? Why do you even invest in the first place in sales and marketing technology? Given I've spent time in RevOps, I thought it very appropriate to pull up some nice sales math. If you don't have this, highly recommend. Adam Wall talked about it earlier. Feel free to grab me. But this is an example of a scorecard that is a real scorecard that's just all too familiar. It's an example of sales math and how it all kind of comes together. Some people in the company understand it, some don't. But the net result at the end of the day is you need to find a path and a way to have your sellers attain success. And when you're dealing with sales math, what any good RevOps leader will tell you is that you don't have to be picky about which number you improve on that sales math. If you can drive an improvement anywhere along that grid, it's going to directly cascade to the number that most people focus on, but is actually the output, which is the bookings or the quota attainment. So when it's done really well, you can drive a bunch of amazing results with your sales and marketing engine. You can increase activity, you can drive conversion rates, but it's gotten way too hard. And this is coming from a deep expert in this space that has spent my entire career building with these tools, seeing most of them that exist in the modern tech stack from Genesis, even being the first design partner for tools like Chili Piper. That is what I've spent my career doing, but let's talk about why it's broken, in my opinion. The first is that marketing and sales just live in different environments. They have different tech stacks, they have different goals, and they all are trying to solve different parts of the puzzle. But it ultimately results in confusion and fragmentation, and it gets really expensive really quick. And the expense here is often not even the cost, it's the expense of how it drains the sellers and drains the teams. The second challenge is that it's incredibly, incredibly manual. Even when I worked in tech-enabled companies, despite having all of this rich information, access to call recordings, access to every piece of the puzzle you could possibly want, at the end of the day, what did we have our sellers do? Go log things manually. Here's what I mean. Okay, marketing leads are bad, says your sales leader. What do we tell the sales team? Go prove it. Manually disposition every single lead, go double-click into every single lead, and you prove to the marketing team that that's bad. Here's another example. I've lost deals because of competitors. So your sales leader tells you, you need to now document every competitor in every single stage and every opportunity and tell us who you're losing against and why. You do that by hand to prove which competitors we're losing to and why. You figure it out. Or my personal favorite, our sales teams, our SDRs are behind on activity. If only they weren't so lazy. Go dial harder, work harder, make more dials. You get the point. But it's all about leaking revenue because of these manual processes that just don't work. The third challenge, and the real reason why I left a very great career leading a data company, was because I really wanted to solve this. And anyone that knows me well knows the depth of knowledge I have on RevOps, but I'm telling you, it has just gotten out of control and complex. And that is the key reason I came to this company. In order to fully optimize your company today, here's the reality. You're going to have to first get really lucky and hire some world-class RevOps leaders like an Adam Wall. Then you're going to go hire a bunch of quant marketers and quant salespeople, and you're going to buy 10 or 15 different pieces of software. You're going to negotiate them one by one, procure them one by one, and integrate them one by one into your CRM. Then here's what you're going to go ask your sales teams to do. You're going to go tell your sales, your account executives, your SDRs that they need to become experts in the following. They need to navigate a dialer. They need to learn the CRM. They have to learn how to work a data provider. They've got to master a calendaring tool. They've got to do call recording and call coaching via another surface. Then they're going to have to go learn your contracting and your billing systems, learn how to negotiate with your own legal team and send contracts through DocuSign, all of this. Oh, and by the way, go use your personal social networks to connect with a bunch of buyers. Meanwhile, they're going to be criticized for why they don't ramp fast enough. You're also going to then go to your RevOps teams, and I have felt this pain personally, and you're going to be frustrated and angry at them about why they can't make it automated, efficient, perfect, and seamless. It could theoretically work eventually if you're super lucky with hiring and have a lot of time and resources on your hand, but it's the proverbial money down the drain. And littered in most companies I interact with, most companies I go in and advise, is a bunch of dead software that they're stuck paying with time to value that's effectively never. And I came to Apollo because we are changing this. I don't want the proverbial money down the drain, and I believe that modern sales and marketing technology can do wonders for every business, but it cannot do wonders in the way that it's currently designed. Apollo is moving into the world where everything is done for you. You build pipelines smarter, faster, and with less friction. We're entering the era of real agentic inbound and outbound. To start off, I want to go deep on outbound, the next generation of pipeline that's self-driving. No one can do that better than our director of product, Tyler Phillips, who I want to welcome to the stage, who's going to take you all through a deeper dive on our outbound agentic solutions. I'm going to help you. Here you go, buddy.
Hello, hi. My name's Tyler. I'm the head of Apollo AI. This morning, Tim and Bella gave you a sneak peek on what we've been building. But now we're going to make it real. In the next 10 minutes, we're going to build a campaign together. And by the end, you'll know how to do every single step so you can try it at home. But before we jump in, let's talk about the problems we're looking to solve. First off is finding the right buyer. Basic filters, stale databases, everyone is fishing from the same sea as millions of other sellers. Second, even if you find the right buyer, it's harder than ever to get their attention. You can spend hours optimizing your messaging, but the email still lands in spam. Third, when you start booking meetings, it's impossible to scale what works. So I'd ask you, how do you solve these problems today? I bet if you pulled out your LinkedIn right now, many people there will tell you that you need to hack together 10 different tools to solve these three problems. At Apollo, we believe there should be one solution to solve these three connected problems. And today, with AI projects and my favorite AI assistant that Bella introduced earlier, we'd like to show you how. So for this working session, I'm going to be a sales manager at Workslay, a next-gen HR and finance product. We're going to build a campaign targeting companies who are using competitor technologies. So first, you log into Apollo, a tool you know and love. Then you click in the top left corner, and you see this new shiny button, Projects. Then you click Create Project and build a rip and replace campaign. Voila. You created a project. Everything now for your campaign lives in one place. So let's start by finding accounts in our ICP using our AI assistant. Our AI assistant suggests targeting criteria and then returns about 1,400 accounts. But you might be wondering, how did we get this targeting criteria? Well, each project has its own context. And at the start of each project, we pre-fill it with what we already know about you and your ICP. And our AI assistant uses that context to then recommend who you should reach out to. I'm sure many of you in this room have been messing around with AI, and you'll know that context is king. we recommend that you upload as much information as you can for your campaign. And why would you do this? Because then you get significantly more precise targeting and relevant messaging. So now that we have 1,400 accounts to start with, I want to figure out which of them are using competitor technology. So instead of doing this myself, let's ask our handy AI assistant to do this for us. I recommend you tell our AI assistant how you would manually do this and give feedback on what it's found. Once you feel good with that, run this research on your entire list. With that, our AI assistant will automatically filter on the accounts that are using competitor technologies. But I have a better idea. I think my coffee that I have backstage is starting to hit. And I think, what if we don't just find accounts that are not just using competitor technologies? What if we find accounts that are complaining about their HR software? That's the pain that you want to go after. So with our AI assistant, now any targeting criteria is actually possible. You're only limited to your own creativity. So in this case, accounts frustrated with HR software, our AI assistant searches the web, then adds all the companies that meet our criteria into the account list. Just like that. With this idea executed, we now have 435 qualified accounts we can target with. But I have another question. Which accounts do we go after first? Our AI assistant uses your project context and go-to-market best practices literally from our own sales team to produce a scoring model to help you prioritize. I recommend you look at the initial score and describe how you prioritize manually to help improve the scoring model. And when you're ready, run this on all of the accounts. And with that, we have accounts prioritized for outreach. But companies don't buy. People do. So let's find HR decision makers likely to respond to cold outreach. Our AI assistant figures out what Apollo filters to use, analyzes the context likely to respond, and automatically filters down to a list of the best people to reach out to. What's even better, you can now use multiple data sources to enrich your contact information. It's not just one data source. The best data wins. So what do we have? 765 decision makers with verified contact information that are likely to respond, not basic filters. So we found the right buyer. Now let's build an outbound sequence to get their attention. Our AI assistant provides outreach recommendations based off of insights from our own go-to-market experts and your project context and goals of your campaign. And within seconds, your multi-channel sequence is created. But something that's even more powerful is the AI assistant crafts the messaging and the call guides using the context you uploaded to your project and the reason you're reaching out. So you're speaking to your customer's pain and how you can help. Or in other words, the list is the message. And just like that, our sequence is live. That's Agentic Outbound. Come on. That's pretty cool. Thank you for that one. So with Agentic Outbound, you can build a campaign in 10 minutes, not hours, and double your meetings booked with this approach. But building the campaign, that's just step one. Now we need someone to actually make some calls. And I think I know just the guy. Please join me in welcoming Matt Lincoln to the stage.
First of all, Tyler, appreciate you leaving me with the cold calls. But lucky for you all, I can close. I'm Matt Lincoln, SDR by day, Director of Product by night. This is what matters. Campaigns don't book meetings alone. Reps do. The good news for me, y'all are going to be making cold calls. We're going to make these together. But before we start doing the calls together, I want to teach you what a rep does, what their average day looks like. As a rep, you show up ready to sell. But right when you log in, tasks start flying at you from all different angles. Each tool, a different story with different tasks to prioritize. You take notes manually after each task, then you have to update all those different tools. It's manual, it's tedious. Let's do a poll. Please raise your hands if this is true. And you have to be honest. Who here has ever watched a reply sit in the inbox way longer than it should? See some hands going up? Nearly everyone. You know what? I'm guilty myself too. Replies could sit for hours because you're jumping between all these tools. How are you supposed to keep up on what's the most important thing to do right now? On average, if you respond in that first 5 minutes, you get 8x better results. Speed to lead is the difference between booking the meeting or losing forever. Okay, reps, you know the job. Let's talk about your day. You've been assigned by Tyler, thank you, Tyler's always pushing more and more quota on us, to do 100 calls. We've talked to reps. To make 100 calls, you need to call for 5 hours. That's dial after dial, ringtone after ringtone. Ringtones might as well be the soundtrack of your life. And after that, guess what? You got 3 hours of admin right in front of you. That's all that manual notes from all those calls being updated. That's a full day. Maybe, if you're lucky, for one meeting. Okay, reps, are you all warmed up? We just witnessed the chaos. There were tasks everywhere, manual notes, so much admin. But there's a better way. With Apollo, tasks across all my go-to-market activities are ranked by revenue impact. What matters to me as a rep is shown in priority in one single pane of glass. And instead of dialing one after the other, listening to ringtones my entire day, I can dial via Apollo's parallel dial 5 numbers at once. I'm just listening to connections. And after every single task, NestSpec's actions are queued up for me. AI's done the hard work. All I need to do is human in the loop, review it, approve it. That's admin that took hours before, done in minutes. The result, good news, rep team, we're going to be able to sell more. We're going to hit our quota. The whole team will waste less time. No revenue will leak away. Okay, I know you guys are ready for those cold calls. Let's get going. So you log in, and there's that single pane of glass. This isn't just a static to-do list. You know that things happen throughout the day. Somebody opens an email that you sent. Well, guess what? This list is dynamic. The most important task adjusts, so you always have the hottest lead that's going to lead to the most revenue. Okay, I know we still have those 100 calls, and Tyler's really getting upset there. Let's click the call task and really get going. In the before, you had to find numbers from a tool, import it to another tool, make the call on another tool, then go back and record across all those 3 different tools. This was a dance of tools and manual toil before. It was slow, repetitive. Listening to those ringtones was honestly demoralizing. Now it's different. With Apollo, I look at my call block, I grab all of my call tasks in one go. Let's add that call block straight in one click. Right there. I've added all my calls from this call block. Next, I click Set Up Call Session. And here's the real unlock. What just slid out? I got a power dialer and a parallel dialer. But there's one more thing. I think a lot of people in this room love Apollo data. Well, with a dialer and data together, you can do more. We look for numbers that don't work. We take them out of your list. We run a waterfall so that you get more coverage. So not only through our parallel dialer are you dialing 5 numbers at a time, you're also only going to the best numbers. This will ensure that your reps are more efficient and you have the best coverage. You no longer have to dance between tools in 2 different systems. And this just isn't a concept. I'm excited to announce Parallel Dialer is live and available today. Let's get an applause. Parallel Dialer. Okay, let's start making some calls. I know you guys are ready. This is where it gets really fun. as reps, like you have to get amped up, like you're about to jump into a call block. We start counting down right in the application. 3, 2, 1. All engines are ready for this sales machine to take off. Tyler's goals for our quota, we're about to smash them. Multiple numbers in our parallel dialer right when you start ringing automatically. The rep is instantly connected to the first human that picks up, while the rest drop. No wasted time on dial tones. And when the call connects, this is magical. Apollo surfaces everything. Key notes, account research, proof points, talking points, CTAs. There's no more winging it anymore. Apollo has me prepped and ready to sell. We're going to close here. But as Mike Tyson says, everyone has a great plan until they get punched in the face, right? That's what objections are. You can't plan for them, but Apollo provides real-time responses. It's like having a coach on the call, helping reps keep the conversation going. After this call, let's end the session and see how we did. Okay, reps, did you all hit your quota? I think we did. Execution's where the magic happens and meetings get booked. Now, with recommended actions in our recorder, I don't have to worry about all those notes. I'm just focused on selling. I click recommended action. AI has done all that hard work for me. I've just been focused on selling this time. I got coaching on my calls. I can click through, learn, improve. All my CRM fields automatically updated. I can pre-draft follow-up notes for those calls that went really, really well. All ready for me in just a click. Let's send that follow-up note together. Instead of 20 minutes trying to remember what happened on that call, Apollo's queued up the email for me. I'm just looking at it, maybe making a few adjustments to the tone, and I hit send. To recap, before we had so much admin and toil. Now, all we have is booked meetings, which is all I care about. But to be honest, has anyone in this room had a sales manager where you hit your goals and they just keep raising it and raising it? Tyler's honestly not satisfied. He wants more meetings. He's someone that is honestly analyzing reply rates at 2 a.m. He's rewriting the sequences in his sleep. So I'll let him nerd out, and let's optimize this sequence together. I'd like to welcome Tyler back on the stage.
Thank you, Matt. Oh, here we go. Yo, Matt, dude, you're really crushing those cold calls. Thank you so much. Okay, so the campaign's built. Reps are calling. We're booking the meetings. Great. Well, I just had a Red Bull backstage, and I'm thinking, what if we asked the assistant if it could optimize our campaign, right? Because all outbound is all about iteration. So you can jump back into your project at any time and immediately get insights on how the campaign is performing. Our assistant turns those insights into suggested actions so you can improve the performance. And my personal favorite, our AI assistant can also make these changes for you directly in your sequence. Now that's something that can never be done before. And now that I've optimized my sequence, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm sure you are too now. And I'm ready to scale my campaign. But I know I still want my emails to make it into my contact's primary inbox. So with our Deliverability Suite, I can buy as many mailboxes as I need, automatically warm them up, and protect myself from bounces. No more worrying about deliverability, because quite frankly, I didn't even know what DMARC meant anyways. So now it's time to scale our campaign. We're finally there, ready to scale. So let's say we close the deal with TechWave, and I want to find more accounts like them. I can ask my AI assistant to find decision makers at lookalikes to companies I'm already winning with. And in seconds, I have a workflow that's built with AI that finds decision makers at company lookalikes and launches it. That's it. You just scaled your outbound motion with companies and decision makers you're already winning with. That's Agentic Outbound. So let's recap. We use AI to target AI decision makers at accounts using competitor technologies. We got their attention with a multi-channel sequence and pain point-based messaging using verified emails and phone numbers. And finally, we optimized our outbound system for deliverability and scaled within workflows. Did I mention that's all in one product? It is today. And so now I challenge you. It's your turn. I've done my work today. Now it's your turn. After these sessions, meet us at the demo booth and build a campaign with us in 10 minutes. And before we do that, I'd like to introduce Matt Lincoln back to the stage to talk about our Agentic Inbound solution. Here, buddy.
I know we can be a little bit louder. Let's get another applause for Outbound. To recap, we just covered how Outbound with Apollo is now self-driving. The campaign we created is generating demand. Those SDRs, they crushed it with our new parallel dialer. You all need raises, right? And we just optimized this campaign in a single prompt. Here's the reality, though. Your outbound may nail it. You can create demand, but without inbound, it's like flooring the gas with a leaking tank. Visitors, they stay anonymous. Forms that are long, they scare people off. And leads sit too long before follow-up. And even when you do book a meeting, how many in this room are frustrated with no-shows? It's a serious problem. Outbound creates demand. Without Apollo Inbound, it isn't self-capturing. That's the reality of inbound today. It's manual, slow. To get it to work, you have to duct tape together a bunch of expensive solutions that honestly, they just don't fit together. For all the leaks that pop up from the non-fit, reps have to grind harder, and your revenue will still slip away. This is the old way, and I want us to all experience it. Let's see what a prospect sees in this experience. Let's meet our prospect. This is Liam. He works at ThetaCore, and reps, y'all did a good job. He got this really highly personalized email. This is great. He's curious. He likes what he sees. He wants to learn more. Clicks on to the website. At this point in time, he's visited the competitor comparisons. He's visited white papers. He's looked at a pricing calculator, an ROI calculator. OK, I think I'm ready. He's going to click book a demo. He's greeted with this long form. He fills out about half of it, but he gets distracted. I mean, life happens. He abandons. We built the campaign. We cold called. We optimized it. All that hard work we just did, it's wasted. But let's just say we got lucky here. He came back. He fills out the form, clicks submit. He's ready to go. But guess what he gets? Thank you. That's it. The prospect was trying to give us money. He visited so much on our website. He's done his research. He's literally raising his hand saying, let me give you my money. And he's just getting a thank you. This honestly isn't gratifying. We're so used to instant gratification. What we see in the market is something that keeps me up at night. More than half of inbound demand sits for 7 days without a response. 7 days. By then, Liam's already gone cold. Or worse, what's more likely, he's booked with the competitors that responded faster. After those 7 days, Liam gets a response. He replies to book that meeting. And then the dreaded scheduling dance. 6, 7, 10 emails. I know you guys have all had this happen to you. It's slow, frustrating. Why is this still a thing? It's completely avoidable. Even when Liam does book, half the time he no-shows. Do you really blame him? That was a ton of friction. This is the reality of outbound and inbound today. We worked so hard on our outbound, it created the demand, but it leaked right away during the inbound funnel. All those cracks started to show. Let's recap what we just talked about. Inbound is manual. That speed to lead 7 days was way too long. It's slow. It's duct taped together and expensive. Inbound should be self-capturing. You invest so much in outbound, Why let that gold slip through your fingers? Let me show you what a self-capturing inbound funnel looks like in Apollo. Remember Liam when he was visiting that pricing page? Before, this traffic ghosted us. He abandoned it on the form. And that's the common. 97% of visits will never submit a form. They just leak right away. Now, with Apollo's website visitor, we can identify the contact. That's right, we will identify the contact and the account instantly. Reps will get a Slack notification right away. And using Apollo's data and our qualification agent and our research agent, this goes right to the right rep's Slack to action immediately. Now that is speed to lead. With contact level visitor reveal, you can see every person in an account visiting your site. This is warm pipeline, queued up, ready for our reps to execute on. You get the full story of their journey. Remember when he visited the demo page, he visited the pricing calculator, case studies. We have all that information right there. We can see how many times they visited. And with website visitor, my inbound pipeline just tripled. That's self-capturing inbound, right? Let's get an applause. And remember that dreaded 7-line form? What you're seeing here is just one field. It literally is just an email field. That's it. That's all your prospect has to fill out. You guys might be wondering, well, like, how do I make sure my reps get the right prospect? How do I make sure garbage isn't flowing through? Well, there's a lot more here. This is seriously game-changing. I love this. Let's see it in action. In the background, and can't emphasize, this is so cool. With Apollo's database, which is such a superpower, Apollo's pulling back using that one field, the title, the company, the industry, number of employees, and we have access to 100+ additional fields. Now that's seriously magical. We just turned one field into so much more. And on top of that, with our AI, you can imagine any field Apollo doesn't have, we can add that in. Then our qualification agent takes that to ensure that they get set to the right rep. For buyers, that one field is effortless. For reps, you get the right lead every time. This is how you capture more and have the right rep sell to the right prospect immediately with the right information. And I think you guys remember that fun scheduler dance that I'm sure you guys have experienced in your life. I don't know about you, but I'm a terrible dancer. Thankfully, with Apollo, you won't have to see me dance here. Now Apollo instantly routes the lead, finds the right rep, and then drops a calendar link. You see my picture up there? I'm back to selling. The buyer books in seconds. No back and forth, no ops. Now let me show you how anyone in this room can set it up. With Apollo Assistant, it's seriously the easy button. It's game-changing for being able to have access for anyone in this room. So I want to make sure that the right lead's going to me, and I'll send everything else to Tyler. So let's create a workflow. I'll ask the assistant, I want a workflow on form submission to qualify, and if it's a 7 out of 10 or 7 or higher, send that to me. Anything lower, send to Tyler. In a few seconds, that workflow is created for me. It's payback for raising our quota. Now agents are qualifying my leads in the background. They're doing all the heavy lifting, and they're instantly notifying my reps. All with just a prompt anyone in this room can write. But I think you guys may remember a problem from earlier. No-shows. No one likes this. This is like rep's nightmare. You work so hard, you get the meeting, and then they just no-show. Well, you can worry about one less thing. With the assistant, I type in, I want to automate after a meeting, whether it's a show or a no-show. And for shows, send to an engagement sequence. For a no-show, send to a nurture sequence. Voila, workflow created. Let's talk about the results from inbound, and I gotta apologize in advance. Data is my love language, so I'm gonna geek out here a bit. In the before state, with outbound generating inbound, we had 10 SQOs. This looks good, but what did we see when we went through that before state? There was a lot of leaks that just popped up throughout that funnel. With Apollo inbound, we're now seeing 3.5x more meetings. But to recap, what changed? We identified website visitors. That's a whole new pipeline that's unlocked. We shortened our forms. That, on average, drives 30% plus form completion. We added a scheduler. There's no more scheduler dance. That boosted conversion 70%. And we automated follow-up and routing. What used to take 7 days plus, now instant. We're making the fastest to respond a reality and easily accessible. And all those results compounded. Remember that 3x? We got more meetings, more deals won. Now let's recap. Outbound and inbound was disconnected. And with that, it leads to reps and ops teams having to grind harder to patch those holes. Now, with Agentic Inbound and Outbound being connected via Apollo, you build pipeline smarter, faster, and with less friction. And this future isn't coming, it's here now. This is Agentic Outbound and Agentic Inbound. It's ApolloNEXT. To show you what this looks like in the real world, we're bringing up customers who are already running this in their go-to-market. Let's give a warm round of applause and welcome Matt Curl back to the stage.
All right, I'm back. Hopefully that was a good deep dive into Agentic Outbound, Agentic Inbound. One of our values at Apollo is customer obsessed, and so there's no better way than to talk to customers. So I'm excited to be joined on stage with Nick Sproul. Nick's the SDR team lead at Idomoo. I'm going to let him talk a little about what Idomoo does, and he's been a big consumer of a lot of our beta products, and I think has got some aces up his sleeves, and he's willing to share some of what he's learned using these products and having early access to them. So Nick, over to you. Tell us a little about yourself, your role, Idomoo. Give the crowd all things Nick.
Appreciate the intro, and I'm excited to be here and excited to share kind of our growth since we become Apollo customers. So yeah, I'm Nick. I lead our SDR organization at Idomoo, and basically what Idomoo does is we do personalized video using real-time data. Think of an onboarding video personalized to you that you might get from your bank or your credit card company. That's basically kind of what we're doing for Fortune 500 companies. A little background on myself. I've been doing sales business development for over 15 years, but kind of like my niche and expertise comes around building SDR teams and SDR operations pretty much from scratch, ground up. So looking at people, processes, and technology. So when I joined Idomoo about a year ago, my primary mission was basically to like revamp our process and kind of to take a look at our tech stack.
Got it. So coming into Idomoo, you're brand new. You've got this nice big edict. I know that was a pretty significant undertaking. I think one thing we talked about before was you also had, if I recall, like a big tech stack, but you were also kind of admin number one as well. There was no existing rev ops, sales ops, whatever the ops branding is you want to apply to a team in place. Is that right?
Yeah. And like myself, like I'm a big kind of evangelist around like sales tech stack, and like I'm always looking for kind of the latest and greatest in like sales tech. And obviously with my AI background, I was kind of intrigued to see like how we could leverage AI in our processes and in our tech stack as well.
Great segue. Let's talk about what you've done to revamp that process. So yeah, why don't you go in first and talk about sort of the lineage, the history. You show up, you have this edict now that's super fair. Here's this existing tech stack, it's yours now. Oh, and go make our pipeline efficient and go drive pipe for the company. So how'd you pull it off, Nick? Tell us.
Yeah, I mean, the cool and unique thing about Idomoo, about my company, is that a lot of people, including my boss, who was one of our first SDRs, is they've been there for a long time. So yeah, the SDR org's been around for over 15 years at this point. But we were just operating in very like disjointed, siloed, using ZoomInfo for data, Groove for sales engagement. We were using Gong. We also use Chili Pepper for meetings. And then at the end of the day, you still have to worry about Salesforce as kind of that central hub, central truth.
Got it. So I'm sure your reps love that, and it was super efficient, right? Is that what your findings were early on?
Yeah, they're like, oh, where do I do this? Where do I find this? How do I do this? Got
it. And then you've also got the challenge of go put AI in place, right? Which makes it really, really hard. So that's like a very hard intro state. How'd you get out of that? Like, what did you do to change?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is like when we really escalated looking at something like Apollo was we were just having a lot of email deliverability issues, not just from the SDRs, but across our organization. And I knew Apollo could do like a few things here and there, but I didn't know it to like the extent that they could do it. They could support sequencing, they could support cold calling, multiple multiple domains for multiple inboxes. But checking like multiple boxes and being able to potentially have Apollo be that kind of central hub of truth, so SDRs could work in like a single view was huge for us, and being able to centralize everything within one workflow. But obviously, our wow moment was obviously these AI features, which everyone's learned about, and it's really kind of sped up our prospecting as well as just made us like exponentially more productive day to day.
Got it. Before we go into the AI, just what was sort of the impact to you as I can count the cost savings. I mean, you named a lot of enterprise or mid-market grade software, and I can kind of mentally calc that, so we don't have to even go into the cost savings, but more, what did it mean for you and for your team to have this all centralized in one place for you? So after you put Apollo in place, you kind of found out we existed, you sort of shredded your incumbent tech stack, used just Apollo. What was sort of the cultural impact on you and your team having done that?
Yeah, just really, it's obviously speed to actually like going after accounts, being able to go after more accounts, more contacts, and really keeps your day to be just a little bit more structured. And obviously, it's led to incredible results for us.
Okay, great. Well, now I think what most people want to hear about is let's talk about some of these beta products, some of the things that Matt and Tyler just talked about. You've been using some of them. I know you've been leveraging Website Visitor, so would love to hear how you've used that and what the impact has been for your business.
Yeah. Obviously, having everything centralized and website visitor alerts and being able to push that into Slack, which is where we're constantly communicating with each other. So you're still getting those communications through kind of the normal way you would normally, but really making those really kind of like targeted, high, like really good fit accounts for us, and then being able to action upon those when just a few clicks within Apollo has been huge for us. And obviously, the productivity boost about not having 150 different alerts and things like that has been huge.
Got it. So basically just like more time targeted on the companies that matter, and then you leverage Slack as like your filtering. What about the AI assistant? I know you've been a heavy consumer of that as well, and you've had early access to that product, and you've been tinkering with it. What has been the impact of that, and how have you, what do you do with it personally, and how has your team leveraged it?
Yeah, I mean, over the years, I've worked for very lean organizations, lean SDR orgs, where the onus is on me to create not just the sequence structure and number of steps, but also like the actual messaging that's being used. So having the AI assistant be able to create that is like huge because it can do it in a matter of minutes versus something that took a couple hours in the past, and having to use different systems and places to find stuff. So it's been huge in terms of productivity for myself, and then obviously having the reps be able to use these sequences a lot quicker too.
Got it, so speed. And then what about like reporting, seeing sequence adoption, adherence? How has that been within Apollo?
Yeah, obviously, with the AI assistant, it can easily create reports. It can actually analyze the sequences that the AI has created, and then it'll give you suggestions of like, hey, email A versus email B is working better. And then the reason it's working is because of this, X, Y, and Z.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk about the thing most people want to always run to is the results. Like, what are you seeing in terms of actual results? I know you're not a paid actor, so these are real results, real customer, real experience. Y'all can find Nick after and talk with him about this. But yeah, I mean, when I saw these, I was like super excited by the results you've had, but would love for you to talk through what you've seen in terms of the results of doing all of this.
Yeah, obviously, these are real stats, and these aren't doctored in any way. But yeah, we've seen a 3x increase. So we went from basically just under 100,000 in SDR pipeline, and we're over 300,000, and we're still climbing because we're not even at the end of the year yet. Another thing that we had to do at Idomoo was it was really a culture shift when it came to like leveraging cold calling. They had never really done that before. They were solely focused on email and LinkedIn. So yeah, we've basically like cut in half in terms of, right, normally it took 200 to 250 calls to basically get that one meeting. Now we're just under basically 100 dials like per rep to get that meeting, which has been huge for us, which has then obviously led to increased productivity based on some of the stuff we're able to do with the AI assistant. So yeah, we're very, very pleased.
Got it. And what does that mean for like the sellers and you personally? Like, what's just like the cultural impacts of having that work and scale and drive this type of result? Like, what has that meant for you individually and for your teams?
Yeah, and obviously with Apollo making it that much easier, like it's just, I don't have to worry about my reps having like what they need to be successful. It's right there in front of them. And it's all within one platform. They're not having to use 5 or 6 different platforms, which has been huge.
Got it. It's incredible. Well, hey, Nick, I know it was a great story. For those in the audience, feel free to talk to Nick. And I think it's just a great example of the ways Apollo can be used, and also how the new products and features that we've released today, basically to everybody in the audience, can really transform your inbound pipeline and be a huge catalyst for your SDR team. So thank you so much, Nick.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Coming up next, we're going to bring up some more customers, Kandji. And Kandji, if you don't know them, they are an end-to-end endpoint for all things Apple device management. We leverage them at Apollo. If you have the little honeybee in your Apple icon, you're already using them. But want to welcome up Kayla Simone and Alan Ramsey to come on stage and talk all things Kandji and how they're leveraging our products today. Kayla, how are you? Good to see you. Alan, how are you? All right.
Hey.
Hey, good to see you all again.
Good to see you.
How you doing?
Great.
You having a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still mad we lost the pipeline feud.
Yeah,
but
I was a little.
All I've been talking
I was a little
about.
disappointed there.
Yeah.
Did
Me
they
too.
really not give you any prizes, like not even
No.
backstage?
No.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can give you guys my address. You can send it
Just
to me.
remind them our value's customer obsessed. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, hey, thanks for joining me on stage. Would love for y'all to introduce yourselves. You both have really unique roles, and I think really unique backgrounds as well for the roles that you have. So would love for y'all to talk about your role a little bit, and then we'll dive into all things Apollo. But Kayla, maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah. So my name's Kayla Simone. I'm the head of go-to-market operations at Kandji. I started my career at Kandji 5 years ago. I started in sales, actually. So I was the mid-market account executive. 6 months later, was promoted to enterprise account executive. 9 months after that, moved into sales management. And then I completed my computer science degree and actually moved over to the RevOps side of the house, where I started as an analyst and then manager of RevOps and now head of go-to-market operations. So my team ensures that tools like Apollo work efficiently and effectively for our go-to-market teams.
Great.
Yeah. Alan Ramsey, head of go-to-market experience. Just like Kayla, pretty unique background. I was actually our first sales leader hire. Interviewed Kayla on Christmas Eve 5 years ago, which is kind of crazy to think about. Become fast friends since then. Been a head of sales, chief of staff to the CRO, and now this unique title called head of go-to-market experience. And basically my job is to figure out what's going on in the field, right and wrong, and figuring out ways to fix it. And Kayla and I work probably way too much together and talk almost daily about what are the things we can do, specifically with Apollo, to make our team more efficient.
I love it, and I love the backgrounds too, also the titles. And I know Adam Wall was on stage earlier. What he did not mention in that talk is he actually started as a sales persona, and I think that is like such a hidden skill set, and I think that's why you all are so heavily invested in that rep experience, which I think so many companies gloss over. So I'm sure that'll come through a little bit. Excited to have you both here. Would love to hear first, like, what did go-to-market at Kandji look like before you put Apollo in place? Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah, really good question. Prior to Apollo, it was messy, disjointed. We had a lot of tools. Reps were constantly switching screens. We had Outreach, we had Gong, we had Chili Piper, we had Zoom Info. And we were, like I said, reps were just constantly having to switch screens. And with Outreach, they didn't have a very true native integration with HubSpot. And I actually had to do some custom code to make it work the way that we needed it to. So just a lot of time investment there. And so really what happened was we all got into a room, myself, Alan, our VP, and we were like, hey, something needs to change. We need to be more efficient. We need to stop our reps from switching between multiple different systems. And so we locked ourselves in a room and tried to figure out what the best outbound motion would look like.
Yeah, I mean, we would walk by someone's desk and they literally had 5 windows open. One would be HubSpot, one would be Apollo, one would be LinkedIn, and then one would be the dreaded spreadsheet that we know we don't want our sales reps using. And it was frustrating, I think, both on our side and on their side. In the end, and you've talked about this a little bit, reps want a system and they don't want to have to do things and have the guesswork. And so that's what we need to figure out. And she's not kidding. We were literally in a room for a week trying to figure this out and trying to figure out how all our tools could work together.
Trying not to kill each other.
Yeah, that's very much true. A lot of coffee.
Yeah, I think what's really special too is it's just, again, the empathy of here are people that lead the systems teams for go-to-market and this go-to-market experience, and they're sitting there just watching it and firsthand and seeing, okay, this does not work. And I think so many companies forget to do that. The leadership or the systems teams get divorced and they're not looking at what's actually happening on the ground. And I think that's why you identified this. But let's talk about the after effects. So you go put Apollo in place, you do a bunch of cool things, stop writing custom code. What's been the after effects here?
Yeah. So the biggest shift was just consolidating everything, right? So like I said earlier, we looked at multiple different paths of what our AEs and our SDRs should take from an outbound perspective. And where we landed was Apollo should be that pane of glass. That's where we want them to live in. We were able to replace a lot of the tools I mentioned. So like Zoom Info, now we use Apollo Enrichment. Outreach, we use Apollo Sequencing. Gong, we use Apollo Conversations. And so all of our reps from an outbound perspective are constantly in Apollo. They know where to go. They know what to look for. They're able to run these really advanced plays that are very smart. And they're able to say, like, I know that I'm going to prospect here, I'm going to enrich here, I'm going to sequence here, and I know how I'm going to follow up. So they're on one screen consistently for their entire workflow from start to finish from a prospecting perspective. Selfishly, on top of that, the integration with HubSpot just works.
I was going to ask, I was like, systems to systems brain, is it actually syncing correctly? Is it going the way it's supposed to? Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't have to do custom code. I mean, not for this, but I don't have to do custom code for this. And yeah, it's been really, really good.
Alan, how about you? You know, you own that go-to-market experience. So I know if it's bad, reps get to blame one person, which is really cool that they have someone they can turn to.
Very much so.
What's it been for you?
I've gotten a couple Slacks today. I think the other big thing too, right, is that like you want your AEs or whoever's using the system to trust it, and they didn't have that trust when they had to go to 4 different places. And so when you think about a rep coming in day to day, they want to take the guesswork of what they have to do, and they want to feel like, hey, you said this earlier, you've got to close deals, you've got to update the CRM, you've got to do outbound, you've got to write emails. If you also then have to guess what to do and where to go, that doesn't make it a good experience for the rep. And one of the things I'm most excited about, you made this look beautiful for us, is this like flywheel we created of like, what do you do every single day? And we weren't able to do that prior without Apollo.
Yeah, why weren't your reps ramping in 30 days? What is wrong? What is wrong with your enablement team?
Yes.
Totally have lived this. Let's go here next. I think what most people really love getting from other customers, as much as they're willing to share, is like what practically do you do, and what advice or plays are you running? So, Alan, maybe talk to us about one of the plays or two of the plays you're running, and we'd love to hear what those are, and we can look through some of the results.
Yeah, sure. I think Kandji's in a very unique position where we only sell to companies that have Apple devices, and there's a major player against us, which is Jamf, and so we need to know who that person at the company is that will buy the product. And previously to having Apollo, the person would have to look in HubSpot notes, they'd have to go to LinkedIn, and what we were able to do through integrations that y'all have with LinkedIn, with Clay, is put all that information in one place. So instead of having to go to LinkedIn and see, is this the Jamf admin, Kayla can now take the integrations you have, put that into Apollo, and so when I'm deciding which person I want to put into a sequence, I can say, oh, right here it says that they have Jamf in their title. It says that they are Jamf certified, and that's a huge differentiator before, because you're putting people into the wrong sequence where it might be talking about another competitor or another pain point that doesn't land.
Got it.
So,
it's like hyper-personalizing and hyper-target. You know exactly who you're looking for, exactly what the value prop is, and you're searching for that one person.
Yeah, and we don't have it up here, but I think the other thing that Kayla's done really well is job descriptions are huge for us. Somebody saying like, hey, we need a Jamf admin, or hey, we're hiring someone to manage our MDM. We can put all that information to Apollo, and again, they're not going to 15 different places. I don't want a rep to have to go to the prospects company and look up a career page. I want them to be in Apollo finding that right away.
Got it. So you like basically filter down, find this like one focused person, so your reps know exactly who to go after and what to do. What happens after that, and like what else are things that you're doing there?
Yeah, I think one of the things, again, you talked about it before, is speed to lead. So we were finding out that when somebody filled out a form fill, about 50% of the time they weren't actually booking a meeting. So we've got a name, what company, what they do, but we didn't know what to do with it. So perfect example of how Kayla and I worked together. We sat in a room and we said, how can we fix this? And from a Tuesday to a Wednesday, we had a solution with Apollo, which was we get that lead, we put them automatically into a workflow and then into a sequence that allows them to book a meeting, and the results are great. We put that to a SDR, not only are their emails going out, they've got the calls to make, and we're roughly booking about a meeting extra every single day. And most importantly, it's something that went from an idea to a change in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, and Kayla, what about you? Like those partial web form fills, like what were you doing before? Did you even know that was a thing before?
We knew it was a thing. It wasn't something that we were capturing well.
Yeah.
So yeah, what Alan says, he's really good about bugging me, especially if I'm not doing what he needs immediately. So he put time on my calendar. We walked through it, and Apollo just makes it so easy. We can automate that kind of outreach really quickly with all of the integrations you guys have. So. Yeah, I mean, in the past, it was difficult, and now we're getting that one extra meeting a day, and that turns into revenue, so everyone wins.
Yeah, especially with like a hyper-targeted persona. It's like every one of those matters. What have been the results that y'all have seen? Like, what's the impact on the business? What's the so what at the end of the day of even just those two plays?
Yeah, so we've talked about the form fill. That's about an extra meeting a month, so you could say 20, which is great. And these are the best of the best, right? They're people who have come to our website, said they wanted to talk, and for whatever reason, we talked about it in Pipeline Feud. They didn't book a meeting, and I forgot about the ones that just fall off the form. I should have said that.
That was on the...
Yeah, I know.
Don't get me started.
Where's Morgan with his Ray-Bans on right now? The other big thing for us is just like when you make a rep more efficient, you see more production from them. That's just a fact. When they have an hour a day where they're switching between systems, screens, and thoughts, that makes them less effective. And so we were able to save about an hour a day from our team by simply just moving to this process, which is about 5 hours a week. And that allowed us to see about a 20% increase in meetings booked, which has been great because you can't just rely on inbound the entire time. You've got to have both to become a really successful company. And then finally, I think it's, idea creation, with other tools that we've used, it's taken us 2-3 weeks. With Apollo, it's taken us 24 hours.
It's incredible. And then Kayla, I mean, I love those. They're so good. Thanks for sharing those, Alan. Like, I don't want to gloss over them too quick. It's like incredible stats and huge kudos to y'all, and we're glad to be part of that. Kayla, people don't ask like RevOps professionals enough. Like, what has it been for your team? Yes, you obviously care about these things. I know you're revenue minded, especially having started your career in sales, but leading a systems team, what is the impact of this for your team?
Yeah, I mean, for our team, Apollo's been a breath of fresh air. When you look at all of the custom coding we had to do, all of the pain of this system doesn't show the same thing as this other system, and going through that, and the reps being like, why does it show that I didn't make as many calls as I did? The whole thing. It was frustrating, right? But once we moved to Apollo, it was like, wow, those tickets continued to decrease. And that was excellent. But there are two really key points that stand out to me from moving to Apollo. The first one being our customer success manager, Megan, is
good job, Megan.
By far the best customer success manager we have ever worked with. We have a lot of vendors that we work with. They do not hold a candle to her. She is excellent. Anytime we have an idea or like a thought, even just like saying it in passing, she's so quick to Slack me and be like, hey, I talked to the PM about this. And I'm like, oh, like I didn't expect that, but thank you. Like, yeah, that's awesome. The second thing would be Apollo's so quick to innovate, right? Like we're always getting messages or emails or like pop-ups about like a new feature that could be coming out or a beta that we can take part of. And Alan's the first to say, we will raise our hand to every beta and we will test it to the ends of the earth. But what's great about that too is you guys are always taking our feedback when we do test it. And we actually feel like we're being listened, which you don't get with every vendor.
Yeah, well, thank you for the kind feedback, and really excited for the partnership and the results y'all have had, and happy to have you on as many betas as you want to come join us on. So great to hear. Thank you again, and yeah, really appreciate y'all coming up and sharing your stories. Thanks, Alan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kayla. Appreciate you. All right, I want to say thank you again to our awesome customers, Nick, and those at Kandji, also to Tyler and Matt for coming on stage. What you saw today was actually just a glimpse of what's really becoming possible. And at Apollo, we're moving really far past that manual, siloed, complex universe, and we're pushing towards this new world, the one where AI is the power and it actually works. So before we go to our next session, I want to go back to where I started, which is that same scorecard. And I know this is an eye chart, and I know it looks too good to be true, and all of a sudden the numbers turn green, and oh my gosh, what a great success story. What I really want to point out here is only 2 things actually happened on that scorecard that changed the entire equation. And this is, again, what great RevOps leaders know and your great quant sales and marketing leaders know. It doesn't matter where you apply pressure. If you can drive results, it's going to trickle through. So what happened in these 2 scorecards is pretty straightforward. All that was changed is 1, parallel dialer was put in place, and the number of dials triples. When you triple dials, you're hitting more contacts, more companies, you're going deeper per account. That's the first lever. The second is all of that form enrichment that is taking place. All of those website visitors that are abandoned that you don't even put in your MQL, your inbound pipeline, that was also put in place. And therefore, your inbound MQLs go up. When you do just even 2 simple things like this with our product, that's what drives real revenue. And that's why stats like what Nick Sproul was talking about of like a 3x increase in inbound pipeline is not fake or phantom or vaporware. It's actually just applying the intelligence of what great sales and marketing teams do, but putting it in place and operating it at scale. So I know it looks like magic and it feels like magic, but it's not. It's just Apollo. With that, I would encourage you all to think about one thing, and this is a serious thought experiment. When you head home, whether that's later today or tomorrow, I know several of you are here for Startup Week as well, you should just think, what would it actually mean in the AI future if you had all of the context and all of the information in one platform? What does it mean for your company if you could have the entire modern go-to-market tech stack in one place, highly contextualized, with this amazing agent that can access all of it and learn from your campaigns, learn from the information, and actually live up to the promise of what everyone in sales and marketing tech has been trying to do for the last 2 decades? That's what we're after, and that's what Apollo is delivering today.